Okay, so I'm not really sure if this is the right place to post this. I usually just lurk and read other people's messes. But I need to get this out somewhere because seriously, what in the actual hell? Have you ever had one of those nights where you're like, am I the only one seeing this? That was me. I started the evening thinking maybe I was being dramatic, but by the end, I genuinely wanted to throw hands. So, context, I'm Haley, 27F, and my boyfriend. Well, I guess boyfriend for now. Douglas, 28M, and I have been living together for about 13 months. Not for romantic reasons or anything dreamy. It was practical. His lease was up, my place was falling apart, and we figured why not? At first it was fine. Fun even. Until it very much wasn't. This past weekend we got invited to a party. Not by a friend, but by our landlord's daughter, Claire. I've only met her once. She usually just sends rent reminders by text. But she messaged us saying something like, "You guys are always cool with the rent stuff, come hang out." Douglas was instantly excited, saying it'd be good for networking. Networking for what? I still don't know. He says that about everything like he's campaigning for office or something. I said yes, mostly because I haven't been out in weeks and figured there'd be snacks, and if it sucked, I'd just leave early. We show up, and it's a lot fancier than I expected. Not wealthy fancy, but like actual glassware, real Spotify setup, decent speakers, so already a surprise. Claire's in this expensive-looking velvet top. Everyone knows each other, and we're clearly the outsiders. Douglas, meanwhile, is acting like he's on a reality show, being extra charming, loud, touchy, constantly nudging me like I'm supposed to be his co-host working the crowd. I was there for the chips. I ended up chatting with Claire about stuff in the apartment, our sad shower pressure, the haunted dryer. Meanwhile, Douglas was already double-fisting drinks. I made a comment like, "Wow, going hard for a Saturday," and he just looks at me and goes, "Gotta unwind after dealing with your nagging all week." No smile, nothing. And I know I can be a little intense about bills and chores, but let's be real. If I don't keep track of that stuff, we're the ones getting passive-aggressive texts from Claire, not him. About 30 minutes in, I realize I'm basically trailing behind him, picking up his mess. He's chatting with these two dudes I barely recognize, and I overhear him say, "Haley's super helpful. No way I'd keep my place clean without her." And it wasn't said kindly. It was like he was mocking me. Then he added something about not worrying about rent, because it's like having a live-in accountant with cleaning perks. The guys gave him that weird half laugh like they weren't sure if it was funny or not. I gave him a look. He winked. I went to the kitchen to cool off. Now, Douglas has always been the kind of guy who hides behind jokes that are actually just mean. If I say anything, I'm too sensitive or need to lighten up. He still brings up the time I shrunk his hoodie like it's comedy gold. But if I ever mention his screw-ups, old news. By 11 p.m., he's fully drunk and talking like he's doing stand-up. I'm texting my friend Avery under the table like, "Distract me before I throw a chip at him." Claire even sits next to me at one point and goes, "Is he always like this?" I lie and say, "He's had a rough week," even though the only rough part of his week was forgetting the laundry and now his stuff smells like swamp. Then someone brings up living with partners and annoying chores. And Douglas, clearly thinking he's hilarious, stands up, raises his drink and says, "Living with Haley? She's basically my maid with benefits. Great for cleaning toilets and paying rent, but boring otherwise." Yes, out loud. In front of everyone. The room froze. Claire looked horrified. A few people gave that awkward laugh people do when they don't know what to do. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood up. As I started heading toward the hallway, Douglas suddenly grabbed my wrist. Not hard, but just enough to stop me. He pulled one of his usual stunts, loudly saying, "Oh, look, she's leaving. Sit down, Haley, come on." Then, waving my purse in the air like some prize, he turns to the room and goes, "Look, guys, she doesn't even have the guts to walk out. Pathetic, right?" And people laughed. Not all of them, but enough to make my face burn. Claire just stared at the floor. I pulled my wrist away. He didn't let go at first, so I had to yank it, and it wasn't gentle. I froze for a second, unsure whether to make a scene or just get through it. I wasn't about to cry in front of everyone, so I sat back down, took my purse from him, and held it in my lap. He stood there trying to milk more laughs, but the moment had passed. For the next hour, I barely moved. I pretended to text, just staring at my lock screen, thinking about all the times I covered his rent, did his dishes, and supported him. This guy used to bring me coffee in bed and tell me how much he appreciated me. Now I'm just the punchline to his maid jokes. Eventually, a few people awkwardly asked if I was okay. I told them I was just tired. Claire sat next to me and quietly said, "You don't have to stay." I shook my head. I didn't want a bigger scene. Douglas was still by the door like some bouncer. At one point, Claire tried to get past him to let her dog out, and he straight up ignored her until she physically shoved him aside. He nearly dropped his phone, got annoyed, but she just told him to move. Watching that, I realized, it's not just me. This is just who he is. If he's not the center of attention, he ruins the vibe for everyone. Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing. Avery texted to check on me. I told her I'd call later. Even my mom texted, which is rare at that hour, asking if I was visiting tomorrow. I thought about replying just to have an excuse to leave, but I knew if I tried, Douglas would escalate things. So I waited. Finally, around 2 a.m., people started leaving. I grabbed my coat and walked toward the door. Douglas stood there, arms crossed, silently staring. I didn't say a word. I just walked past him. He muttered something, but I couldn't hear it. Probably more of the same. I stood on the porch for a minute, just breathing. Claire came out with my charger, said to text her if the dryer acted up again. She looked like she wanted to say more but didn't. The walk home took about 10 minutes, and I spent all of it replaying everything. When I got back to our apartment, I went straight to bed and didn't speak a word when Douglas finally came in, slamming the door. He didn't even look at me, just kicked off his shoes and went to the bathroom. I lay there scrolling Reddit, typing this in my notes app so I wouldn't forget any of it. So yeah, that was my Saturday night. I'm shaking. I'm so mad. I don't know what to do next, but I am going to do something. Part 2 coming if anyone cares. I just needed to get this out. First update. Didn't think I'd be back this quick, but so many people asked, and honestly, typing this out is the only thing keeping me from losing it right now. Running on maybe 4 hours of sleep and a giant iced coffee that's not helping. I woke up to chaos on my phone. 20 missed calls from Douglas's parents, texts from his mom asking if I was okay, if we could talk, even a missed FaceTime from his sister. I just silenced everything and stared at the ceiling. I couldn't deal. Douglas was snoring on the couch, which he never does unless he's being dramatic. Guess he passed out after stumbling home. I went to the kitchen for cereal. Place was a wreck. Solo cups still out. Dishes piled in the sink. Counter sticky from his failed margarita experiment. It looked like a toddler party with no cleanup. And I just stood there realizing I always clean this. Every time. I don't even remember the last time he took the trash out without me reminding him. He says he's just bad at noticing mess, yet somehow he always notices when I miss a spot. I sat down with my coffee thinking. I could leave. I could tell Claire the rent's his now. I could pack and crash at my mom's or Avery's. But honestly, I want him to feel this. I want him to actually have to deal with the mess he's made literally and figuratively. I want him to realize just how much I do, because he doesn't, he never has. And after last night, I'm not in the mood to be the bigger person. I'm petty and I'm proud. So, I started making a list, like literally in my notes app, every single thing I paid for, every time I covered his half of the rent, every bill I set up, every cleaning supply I bought, every random thing he forgot at the store, so I just picked it up. And the list is long. Like I scrolled for a solid minute just looking at all the little things. Toilet paper, paper towels, Swiffer refills, laundry cards, light bulbs, trash bags, that stupid scented candle he likes, literally everything. I even found Venmo. Receipts from last year when he couldn't access his account, and I covered his share of the internet for 3 months straight. Never paid me back, just kept saying, I'll get it next time. Right? The more I went through it, the madder I got. I started taking pictures of stuff around the apartment that was mine. The couch, mine the TV I bought. That when I moved in, the plates, the silverware, the microwave, the sheets, literally all mine. Except for this ugly lamp he got from his parents, and the broken kettle. That he swears he's going to fix but never does. I started grouping stuff together mentally like, what can I take without needing a U-Haul? What do I actually care about? What would he even notice is gone? I texted Avery and asked if I could borrow her car next weekend. She just sent back a middle finger emoji and say, "Less love her." I ignored Douglas all morning. He shuffled into the kitchen around noon looking like absolute death. He made a big show of pouring himself water and rubbing his temples. Just sat there scrolling through my phone, not even pretending to be interested in fixing him breakfast. Eventually, he tried to make small talk saying he didn't remember much from last night. I just said, "You said enough." He looked confused for a second, then got defensive like, "Oh, come on, you know I was kidding, everyone jokes like that." I just stared at him and didn't respond. He got annoyed and went back to the couch. My mom called again, asking if I was coming to dinner. She could tell something was up, but I just said I wasn't feeling great. I'd text her later. She asked if Douglas was coming, and I just laughed. She didn't push, just said to call if I needed anything. Honestly, I should have told her then, but I didn't want to deal with the whole "we warned you about him" speech. Parents never let that go. Douglas spent the rest of the afternoon on his phone scrolling TikTok and texting his friends. I heard him laugh a couple times, then he got super quiet. I peeked and saw he was in a group chat with Carson and Andrew, his two ride-or-die friends from college, and they were talking about how awkward last night was. Someone said Claire looked pissed. Douglas just said she'll get over it. She always does. I took a screenshot and saved it. Just in case. Not for blackmail or anything. Just IDK proof that he knows he's an ass. Around 5. I started packing my stuff. Not everything, just little things. My chargers, my makeup, my favorite hoodie, my headphones, some books, my laptop stuff. He'd never even noticed missing. I put it all in my bag and put it in my car. He didn't even ask where I was going. Just told me to bring back some chips if I stopped at the store. I slammed the door when I left. I sat in the car for a minute just breathing. Then drove to Avery's to drop off my bag. She didn't ask questions, just handed me a soda and put on some music. I almost cried, but I didn't. When I got back, Douglas was playing Xbox, yelling at some kid online about camping and Spawn. I went into the bedroom and started looking through the closet. Half the clothes in there are mine, but he always leaves his stuff in a pile on the floor. I started folding my stuff into a laundry bag. He walked in and asked what I was doing. I just said laundry. He shrugged and went back to his game. I made dinner just for myself. He came in and asked where his was. I told him he could make his own. He actually pouted, like genuinely like a child. I just walked past him and went to my room. I spent the night texting Claire. I asked her if she was okay after last night, and she said she was just embarrassed for everyone. She said she was sorry I had to deal with Douglas, and that if I ever needed anything with the apartment to let her know. I asked if she thought her dad would let Douglas stay if I moved out. She said, "Well, you're not on the lease, are you?" "Just him." I said, "Yeah, just him. Because when we moved in, he said he'd handle the paperwork and never put my name down, just said it'd be less complicated." She said, "Then he's responsible for the rent." I said, "Good to know." She sent back a thumbs up emoji. I started to feel a little better next morning. I started moving more of my Douglas, barely noticed what I was doing. He was too busy bickering with Andrew about fantasy football and complaining about the Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, I started packing. I unplugged everything that was mine. The router, I paid for it. The coffee maker, the good knives, the blender, the throw pillows, even the air fryer. I left all his junk behind. His crusty old laptop, the gaming chair, and that tangled mess of wires he always promises to sort out. I texted Avery to help me with the bigger stuff. She pulled up around 2 a.m. We loaded her car with boxes. Douglas came out, saw us, and asked what was going on. I just said, "Moving some things." He shrugged and walked back inside. I planned to come back for the essentials. My bed, dresser, bathroom stuff, the next day when he'd be at the gym. He's always there Tuesdays at 6, right on schedule, posting those sweaty Snapchat mirror selfies like he's training for the Olympics. I texted Claire and let her know I'd be out by the weekend. She just said, "Let me know if there's any trouble." I told her I'd leave the keys in the mailbox. That night, Douglas acted like everything was normal. Asked if I wanted to watch something. I said, "No thanks." He pouted. I almost laughed. He complained that the kitchen looked empty, and I said, "Maybe go grocery shopping." When he asked, "Why are you being like this?" I replied, "You know why." He rolled his eyes and walked off. I slammed the bathroom door and stayed in there for 20 minutes. My mom called again. This time I picked up. I told her I was moving out. All she said was, "Oh, honey," like she'd been waiting to hear it. She offered to help. I said maybe, but Avery had it covered. She asked if I wanted to stay at her place. I said I wasn't sure yet, but I'd be fine. I almost told her everything, but I held back. Then came the best part. Next morning, 6 a.m. sharp, Douglas left for the gym. I texted Avery and she came over. We packed up the last of my stuff. I left a note on the counter listing everything he owed me. Rent, utilities, groceries, cleaning supplies, the works. At the bottom I wrote, "Your turn now. Don't forget the toilets." I put my keys in the mailbox, took one last look at the sad little apartment, and walked out. Avery handed me a drink, and we watched dumb YouTube videos for hours. My mom texted, said she was proud of me. I didn't answer right away. I just needed to breathe. Later that night, the messages from Douglas started rolling in. He was furious, said I blindsided him, that I was selfish for leaving him with the bills, couldn't believe I did this to him. I didn't reply. He called once, then again. I ignored it, then I blocked him, blocked his mom, blocked his sister, even blocked Andrew and Carson just in case. I texted Claire to confirm I was out. She said, "Thanks for the heads up." I asked if Douglas had paid rent yet. She said, "Not yet." I just said, "Good luck with that." So, yeah, that's where we're at. I'm done. I'm gone. And I left him with a mess he can't spin or ignore. He always needed to be the guy in charge, the one who never did anything wrong. Well, now he gets to clean up after himself, literally and figuratively. I'm not saying I'm finished with this. If he wants to keep playing games, I can play too. But for now, let him stew in it. Maybe then he'll realize who the real problem was. Let me know if you want an update. I've got a feeling this story's not over yet. Second update. Okay, so I didn't think I'd be back this soon, but things escalated way faster than I expected. Plus, I need to vent somewhere before Avery shows up with a bottle and a baseball bat. Because at this point, I don't know if she'd smack me for dealing with this, or him for existing. Literally, minutes after I moved out, Douglas went full meltdown. I wasn't even out of Avery's car before the angry texts started, one after another, all caps, saying I set him up, that I'm ruining his life, that his parents are freaking out because they thought I was missing. Apparently, they've been calling nonstop. Honestly? Maybe he should have thought about that before making me the punchline at a party. I ignored every message. I'm not giving him that satisfaction. Avery kept saying, "Block him," and I already had. But he started using new numbers, then Instagram DMs, then Facebook, which I haven't even opened since 2023. I left it all on unread. Maybe he thinks if he's annoying enough, I'll come back just to shut him up. But nah, that's not happening. What did surprise me was how quickly his financial issues caught up. 2 days after I left, Claire texted asking if I knew when he was paying rent. I sent her a screenshot of his last "I'll get it next time" message and said, "Not my circus anymore." She just replied with a bunch of laughing emojis and a yikes. Apparently, he told her I'd cover for him if anything came up. Hilarious. I literally told her I was out for good. He really thought I'd keep doing his dirty work from a distance. Oh, and the group chat? Yeah, it's heating up too. Backstory. We were in a shared chat with some of his friends. Andrew, Carson, Gabriella, and their girlfriends, mostly for memes and dumb stuff. But let's just say things are about to get interesting. I knew he wouldn't go down without one last sad little move, and I was right. But before we even get there, let me back up to the strangest part. His parents. The morning after I officially left, my phone still had like 20 missed calls stacked from his mom, his dad, even his sister from some old number. I ignored them all. Honestly, I was starting to feel slightly petty for not even texting a quick, "I'm fine, leave me alone." Then around noon, my phone starts blowing up again. Same people, but now with these long voicemails. His mom is panicking, saying Douglas hasn't eaten, hasn't slept, that he's never been like this before. I listened to maybe half a message, rolled my eyes, and deleted it. Like, I'm not heartless, but I'm also not his mom, his therapist, or his personal assistant anymore. Then comes the part that really had me wanting to flip a table. She starts texting my mom. Apparently, she still had her number from some random holiday event they both went to. I only found out because my mom called me all confused. Like, is everything okay? Douglas's mom says he can't pay rent and needs you to come talk to him. My mom sounded like she was halfway expecting me to say I'd take him back. I shut that down fast. Told her, nope, I'm done. He's on his own. Please don't respond to her anymore. She just said okay and asked if I needed groceries. Classic mom move. Meanwhile, Douglas keeps calling. The emotional swings are wild. 1 minute it's, "You ruined my life." The next it's, "Please come back, I'll change." I ignore all of it. He tries new numbers, even FaceTimes. I block them all. It's like emotional whack-a-mole. Avery keeps joking I should start billing him per attempt. Then Claire texts me. Her dad officially served Douglas the notice. He has until Friday to move out or pay up. Apparently Douglas tried to claim I sabotaged him. Claire's dad wasn't having it. Just said, "Not my problem, pay or leave." Douglas starts trying to guilt everyone around him. Carson texts me that Douglas asked to borrow money and said I stole his stuff, which is ridiculous. I took what was mine and I have the receipts to prove it. Gabriella messages me that Douglas DM'd her, asking if she'd back him up if Claire's dad asked about rent history. She just sent him a meme of someone laughing. Iconic. Made my whole night. Only one who's staying neutral is Andrew. But that's not about loyalty. It's just that he hates drama and avoids it like a full-time job. By Thursday, Claire texts again. Douglas is in meltdown mode. Behind on rent, internet, probably all his random subscriptions too. I still get emails about his old meal kit boxes, not my circus. Apparently he tried calling Claire's dad again. No luck. So then he called his mom, who called me, again. And this time I picked up. Mostly out of sheer annoyance. She starts in with, "Please, Haley. I know he messed up, but he's lost without you. He's just not good at handling things. You know how he is." And I said, "I'm not part of this anymore. Talk to your son, not me." She started crying, which was super awkward, so I just said goodbye and hung up. Honestly, Douglas treats people this way because he's always gotten away with it. His parents baby him. His friends either ignore the mess or joke about it, and I was just the latest person he leaned on. When he's embarrassed, he yells. When he's nervous, he makes jokes. When that fails, he expects someone else to clean it up. I always knew he was lazy, but I didn't realize how deeply he depended on everyone until I stopped doing the work. Anyway, Friday rolls around. I'm at my new, tiny but mine apartment, eating leftover noodles, and I get a text from Claire. Just a thumbs up. He's out. Didn't pay, didn't even pack all his stuff. Claire's dad said he can come back for the rest, but the locks are changed. He's no longer a tenant. I asked if he made a scene. She said he cried a bit, slammed the door, and walked off. For a second, I almost felt bad. Then I remembered how he acted at that party and, yeah, no. Bye. And guess what? He shows up at my new place, literally knocks on the door. I peek out the window. There he is, hoodie up, grocery bag in hand. I don't open it. Instead, I text Avery, she lives in the next building, and she comes out, just stands there on the sidewalk, staring at him until he walks away. Doesn't even try to talk to her, just leaves. She texts me, "Dude is lost." I block his number. Again. The next day, I find a letter in my mailbox, handwritten, from Douglas. He never writes unless he absolutely has to, so it's already weird. 3 paragraphs of apologies, excuses, begging. Says he can't do this alone. Swears he'll pay me back. Says he didn't mean any of it. I rip it up and throw it away. Not even tempted to respond. So, yeah, Douglas is out, and I'm finally free. Out Claire's family is already cleaning the apartment for new tenants. His parents tried everything, even called my mom again. She just ignores them now. Gabriella says Douglas is couch surfing at Andrew's place, but Andrew isn't loving it and is probably going to kick him out soon. Carson's still neutral, but he texted me that Douglas is talking about moving back in with his parents. I'm honestly just glad I'm not the one cleaning up after him anymore. Next time someone calls me boring, I'll just laugh and move on because, honestly, I'd rather be boring and free than stuck picking up after some guy who thinks he's the main character. So yeah, thanks for reading my unhinged saga. If you're ever in a situation where you're doing all the work and someone treats you like the help, don't wait for a big epiphany. Just start packing. You'll be shocked how fast the trash takes itself out. And no, I never called his parents back. Not my circus, not my monkeys. If Douglas wants to get his life together, he can start by learning how to do laundry or at least how to pay his own damn rent. That's all for now. Maybe next time I'll write about something fun.